What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans. In this video, I'm joined by kind of a controversial person in the HEX and Pulse chain communities. Some love him, some despise his content, his take on the markets. He's definitely got some flack on Twitter. So today, we're going to find out the truth about Jenkins. Is he a Chad? Is he the Chad of crypto? Or is he someone who needs to be stopped and confronted? Because remember, if somebody has a different opinion to you, especially online, you must throw abuse, hate, and negativity their way, because that's the only adult way to do things. So, with no further ado, Mr. Cosmo Jenkins.
Hello. What is good? I like that little intro right there. love him or hate him.
Dude, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming on, because I just think it's quite funny, the reactions people have to you. And of course, everyone is welcome to their own conclusions, but I think people should maybe listen to what you say and watch a bit of your content. And I do want to get into that more, but before we do, for the people that don't know who you are, maybe just a quick bio and background about you and how you got into crypto and all that good stuff.
Man, well, I'm Jenkins. How I got into crypto was this is years and years ago. So I got into crypto not by actually buying crypto. I used to be a leveraged trader, so I would doing forex and stuff. I started back in 2015ish, and I would buy and sell Bitcoin and Ethereum using 100x, 200x leverage and everything through an actual centralized broker. Yeah, wow. It was crazy. I learned the hard way years and years ago. Never actually made any investments. Investing to me at that time was, let me just load up my trade account, make some profits, withdraw. So I actually got into the market game. It's 7 years now. It's crazy. That about 7 years ago, learned the hard way. I mean, I was not profitable for the first 3-4 years of my experience in the markets. Then 2018, that's when I started actually buying crypto for what it was. I still wasn't familiar with it because I was buying it through Coinbase and things like that. I forgot which website it was. When Bit something when I bought my first Bitcoin. Can't remember because I cashed that thing out years ago. But yeah, I really started investing crypto heavy 2018. Luckily, I missed the big 2017 drop. 2018 was that full year of just being negative in Bitcoin. So I was just dollar cost averaging Bitcoin, Ethereum that time. And then, yeah, I really found my way through Ethereum. It was easy to, be profitable after the 2018 bottom. Everything just started going up. Then 2020 COVID hit, kind of dipped for a while and whatever that was. But I really found my way in terms of an investor in crypto through HEX a couple of years ago. And that's when I realized through
How did you find HEX? Sorry, if you don't mind me
asking. Yeah. So being, a Chad and doing all the degenerate kind of, fun things in the meme space, I have one of my go-to guys. We buy all these random cryptos all the time. We've been doing it for years. He's actually on Twitter. His name's BB HEX. For the people that don't know him. He's the one that actually onboarded me. He showed me what he used to throw, 10, 15 coins at me every single week. And 14 out of those 15 are straight garbage, But so he threw HEX at me. He was like, no, Jenkins, trust me, this is the one. I was like, yeah, whatever. Because at that point we were rug pull, scam, So I'm I kind of don't want to do this anymore, And then he finally threw HEX. He's like, no, let me just come to your house and let me just show you this Richard Hart guy. I was like, okay. He came to my house, showed me Richard Hart, did a live stream. He put me onto MetaMask because at the time I was using a centralized exchange. I was a little bit of a noob about it. Put me on MetaMask and I realized wow, the DeFi world goes a lot deeper than what crypto just generally is. And then, but yeah, that's how I found out about HEX. A couple of years ago through him. It was one of the million coins that he was throwing at me, and then he really put in effort to show me it was different from the rest. And then he showed me Richard Hart, and Richard Hart took it from there. I spent the last 18 months my first 18 months of HEX was just nonstop Richard Hart content all day, every day, rewatching streams 2, 3, 4 times, just listening to him speak taught me 90% of what I know today, in crypto. And then obviously you branch off learning off of that. But yeah, that's kind of how I got here. I've been first 4 or 5 years, not profitable at all. And then when I started buying actual cryptos and then really putting all my crypto profits into HEX, I went balls into HEX when I first found out about it. Once I was actually convinced, I took everything, all eggs into the HEX basket. And then boom, that took care of itself from that point on. And then now here we are. I still, I do my normal thing like usual, but Hex has kind of been my focus still till today, my primary focus in crypto because of what it's done for me financially.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's great to hear your full story from getting into leverage trading all the way to Hex. I came across to you last summer, and you were just primarily doing TA on Hex. And dude, like when you say price is going to respect here or price is going to bounce off the 618 and stuff, like, I mean, no one's perfect, but your calls are on point a lot of the time. So let's go back to what we started with. Why, in your opinion, do you cause a little bit of get a few hexagons hot under the collar? What is that all about?
It's I mean, I don't even try. I mean, okay, well, I guess a little bit in me, there's like an entertainer. There's an entertainer in me specifically on Twitter that I like to troll and have fun. But I think the big and that rubs people the wrong way no matter what. But that wasn't the real reason why people started backlashing at me. The real reason was because I made a Telegram group recently. I called it for the Chads, and I made a tweet. I was like, okay, meme season is here. So for the season, Chad mode is activated or whatever. So I went full Chad mode. I'm like, here's a Telegram group. Because I do it. I always buy meme coins on the side. I just never made it public. But I realized kind of where Hex was at about this, like maybe 2 months ago. Hex is kind of, not dead in the water, but the price is kind of stagnant because there's so much pulse chain dependency that we're waiting to develop before things get moving, at least in my opinion. But I basically just told everybody, hey, I'm going Chad mode for meme season. I'm going to start doing streams daily, looking at meme coins and stuff. And I have a Telegram group that if you guys want to be a part of it, come be a part of it, I don't go on my Twitter and just shill a bunch of random stuff, right? I keep it separate because I understand the platform I built through Hex. My initial purpose and my focus today is still adding value to the Hex community specifically and being responsible about that. But at the same time, like Hex has obviously been going down for the past 6 months. Not everyone wants to sit and just wait and do that. I've been making money on the side outside of Hex, and I'm just like, man, now meme coin season really just bloomed the past couple months. I'm like, I'd be doing a disservice to the people that do, because on my Hex technical analysis videos, people are always commenting like, hey, can you see this? Can you check this? I want to get your opinion on this. I'm like, I can't do it because I'm specifically stuck on Hex. But my camera's frozen, by the way. I don't know if that's on me. Is my camera frozen?
Yeah, it's frozen. It probably will come back in a sec. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, but you can hear me fine, right?
I can hear you fine, but yeah, you've frozen up. I don't know why.
Okay, I'll finish saying what I'm saying, then I'll fix it. But yeah, sure. So I basically went Chad mode for meme season, made a ton of profits, and a lot of people that went with me made a ton of money outside of Hex. But the fact that I'm doing more than just Hex really rubs people the wrong way. And I would say that if I had to guess, that's probably the reason why. I don't get it why, but I guess I do get it, Yeah.
I mean, you can fix your camera, dude. I'll take it from here for a bit. But yeah, like, I just think it's funny because I'm going to be honest. I pretty much watch your daily streams every day, and it's like UK mid-afternoon. I'm in the gym normally, and you give me a great overview of the stock market, Bitcoin, Ethereum, which we know, is leading everything. And, if people actually listen to what you say, and, you're never telling anyone to ape into anything. Yeah. You tell people, listen, I'm just giving you my opinions on the markets and this and that. And again, I just think it's funny that a lot of people get into crypto because they say they want freedom and liberty. And then when people do what they don't want them to do, they start giving them shit on Twitter. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's exactly. So I get it, right? I get why people feel that way, but I just come to realize in the internet world, because I've only been on the internet for less than a year. Believe it or not, I haven't been around Twitter for more than a year. I joined Twitter the last day of May in 2021, and I did it for Hex. I'm like, man, I saw the Hex community, how strong it was. And I realized like we need a person that can look at the charts really thoroughly for the community. I was like, wait, I can do that. I'm freezing again. I don't know what's going on. But that's the reason why I got on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, I realized being on the internet, if you do one thing and you switch up and you grow or you adapt or you change, people aren't going to like it. People will love it, but there's going to be the fair share of people that don't like it for whatever reason.
Well, you know what they say, right? If you haven't got any haters, you're not doing something right anyway. So,
oh yeah, exactly. And that's what keeps me centered. I'm like, I get it. Like people, the support I get out of every one person that'll get on me or send me hate speech or whatever on Twitter, I'll have at least like 50 people giving me positive, feedback and reinforcement. And that's what I focus on too. And ever since I started going Chad mode with everything, I genuinely mean it. I've been getting like daily messages of like people thanking me about just simply teaching them more about the correlations with the stock market, how Bitcoin's price affects the altcoins, everything all bundled in. But also too, like people would be like, man, I bought that random meme coin that you shilled on your Telegram or on that stream, and I'm up 6x in like 2 days. I'm like, that's what happens in this space. You can get rug pulled, you can get scammed, but I guess what people are seeing in me now is, I guess this is 7 years of experience that they're seeing for the first time attack the meme coin space and really analyze it on a macro scale with the fundamentals and everything. So, but what people don't understand, I think that's where the hate comes from, is I went 4 or 5 years of losing money, not even being break even, like losing money, go to my job, put a paycheck in, lose that, go work, paycheck in, lose. 2020 COVID year came. I was still trading when I found out about HEX, but I lost big time when COVID hit, and then HEX saved me, from that. So HEX saved me from leverage trading. But people have to understand the difference between leverage trading and just, I guess, crypto trading, because if you buy HEX and you sell HEX next year, that's technically the same thing as buying any other coin and selling it tomorrow. So just because we buy and hold for less than a week doesn't mean we're doing anything different than buying and holding and selling HEX. So it's a big difference in those two types of trading.
Absolutely. I think I saw you did a tweet on that today, and I think people just like to move the goalposts, right? Because they're all in on one coin. It's fine to trade that, but if you trade something that I don't agree with, also what I've found is the people that are online and throwing the most negativity around, they're not doing anything, right? The people that are actually doing stuff, creating content, helping other people, doing something with their lives, they haven't got time to be trolling people on Twitter. It's the people that are just doing nothing, and then they see someone who doesn't align with their beliefs exactly, and then it's time for negativity. But like I said, your TA and your overview of the stock market and Bitcoin and how it relates to the rest of the crypto market is great. And why shouldn't you make money, especially when HEX has been in a downturn for the last 5 or 6 months? I think what you do is great, man. And also, even if you don't want to buy any meme coins or even care about the TA, tune into Jenkins' stream for the lols, man, because you're funny as well. So it's people need to know, man. I think you don't get enough credit, and I think people need to know. Talking about markets and your take on it, are we in a full-blown bear market at the moment?
Are we in a full-blown bear market? I'm not going that far. I would say the market conditions are bearish. If you watch my streams, like you say you do, things aren't looking positive macro scale for anything. But I'll be fully sold in a bear market once Bitcoin can confirm, and this is a big range, but if we get under 30K, and I'll show you charts later, I'm sure, but break under 30K, flip that to a resistance level, then I feel like, okay, the free fall down to 25, 20, then 18 there's not really much structure that's going to stop that free fall. So bearish conditions, I would say my sentiment here today, right now is, if I had to pick or choose, flip the coin and give you a guess, I would say it's bear market. We're looking like we want to head down, but if you watch my streams, like Bitcoin's closer to flipping that 45K range than it is to going down to 30K right now. I mean, it's almost actually dead. Well, it's about $6,000 off 45, 9K away from 30. Yeah. So it's actually closer to flipping the 45 than it is to flipping the 30K range. I know it's a big range, but I'll be full blown bear market when that happens. And the reason why I say that is because I've experienced bear markets. I've been trapped and I've fell victim to bear markets in my time. People don't really, I feel like there's a lot of new people in the crypto space, specifically HEX, that just have gotten into nothing but HEX that really haven't truly felt the max pain of a bear market. Like 10-cent HEX, that's not max pain. It sucks going down from 50, but Bitcoin going from 69 to 30, that's not max pain. Max pain is that real true capitulation that'll not just last like a day or two. Like that capitulation where like when COVID hit, that thing dropped from like 14K down to 3K, and that lasted like 2 months worth of dipping. There was a point in time where people were like, okay, this thing will never recover. Bitcoin is the scam we thought it was, Once that reality starts to sink in, that's the final phase of capitulation where I'll be like, okay, that's a bear market right there. We haven't had that just yet. So I wouldn't say it's a bear market yet, but the conditions are definitely leaning towards going that way as of right now.
And do you think, because a lot of people always talk about HEX being decorrelated, but I think that's becoming less and less true. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So, and that's another controversial standpoint that I have too. And I'm sure you know that. So any brand new coin is typically, as long as it's not a rug pull scam, it's going to be decorrelated from the general market because no money's in it. And then all this money comes into it. It's going to pump whether everything else is going up or down. That happened in HEX in 2020. Now, in 2021, HEX still had a decent amount of value. Excuse me. Oh, just had a big breakfast. HEX had a decent amount of volume in 2021, and it outperformed while Bitcoin was dipping. That is the case. But now HEX is one of those large cap coins I consider. It's still new. It's still early. Don't get me wrong. But it is one of those larger cap coins. And I'm not going to say it's fully correlated just yet. But this whole decorrelation in the sense of Bitcoin down, HEX up, that's not the case. I mean, we know the numbers. I just by doing streams every day. I think Bitcoin's down like 45%. And actually, I'm not going to just randomly throw numbers. But Bitcoin's down like 45%. Ethereum's down close to 48.50. HEX is at around 80 now. So like they're all going down on the macro scale. And I made a tweet about that actually. Richard Hart responded to it on a stream when I do those all the time. Last year when HEX was pumping, I'd be like, oh, HEX is up X amount percent in the last 90 days. Bitcoin's down this much. Ethereum down this much. I do those tweets periodically. I did it recently when Bitcoin and Ethereum were maybe down like 20-30%, but HEX was down like 60. And Richard Hart didn't like that. He went on stream and he wouldn't mention me because obviously, whatever, I get it. But he was saying that, oh, I'm just cherry picking the numbers. And it's like, no, I'm actually going from the all-time high. That's as valid as you can be. If you're going to measure something and compare it to anything else, let's just compare the all-time high dip and how long the length of time was. I feel like that's as fair as you can be without cherry picking. But so to answer your question, yeah, I still feel like there's a form of decorrelation in HEX because it's not dipping with Ethereum or Bitcoin, but it just hasn't pumped as they dipped how it used to. So it's a little bit of a change of a sentiment there in terms of decorrelation. But HEX still has a few years of not going hand in hand with those two. But as HEX gets bigger and bigger and bigger, all markets are essentially going to turn into the same type of market.
Sure. And do you think the HEX price has just been kind of bleeding out because everyone thought Pulse Chain was coming soon after the sack and then that didn't arrive? So things just started to...
Yeah, that's another one where this whole dip is the lack of Pulse Chain development. In my opinion, and I call it conspiracy for the sake of the viewers that might, be hearing this for the first time. I don't want to use a platform to throw out some false information. So my conspiracy, which I think there's a lot of common sense and logic factored into that, and understanding Richard Hart's genius mind is, Pulse Chain, it could have been ready by last year, in my opinion. I know the code software takes a while. Don't get me wrong. So for the people that are all about the software, everything taking forever, I get that. But if we just look at everything, Bitcoin was supposed to be at 10K last year, according to Richard Hart. We got the bounce off 30. It was a dead cat bounce, which is supposed to mean it follows with another drop. That drop didn't happen. It went to all-time highs. Miraculously or magically, Pulse Chain started getting delays around that same time. Pulse Chain stopped. Bitcoin stopped going down and Pulse Chain stopped developing, right? So it's a conspiracy, but yeah, right now it's 110% in my opinion. Being a guy that's been looking at these charts daily forever, essentially with HEX at least. That's exactly what I'm seeing. And at the moment, all that stuff kind of clears up. I do think HEX will finally make its change and kind of flip back around. And it's fair. It's not bad price. The HEX chart's not in bad shape. It's still honoring the technicals in terms of structure on the macro scale. It's like we have a big long bull flag on the year chart. But yeah, the delays in Pulse Chain definitely go hand in hand with the HEX dip. Because you got to think, when we ran from 10 cents to 50 cents after the Pulse Chain sacrifice phase, that was everyone saying, oh, buy one, get one HEX. Get it before Pulse comes. Pulse never came. 2 months. Pulse never came. So people were like, well, what am I waiting for this BOGO? I mean, if you're waiting 8-7 months for a BOGO, I mean, a lot of new money would get kind of frustrated with that, especially in crypto, where if you're not getting 2x in a matter of a month or two, you're not really doing as well as you could be doing, So yeah, definitely, I would say that.
And so you think we see another hard run up when Pulse Chain mainnet is announced, or there's sentiment that we're going to go live soon?
Yeah, once the news starts rumbling around, because HEX already dipped all the way down to 12 cents in December from 50 to 12. Then Pulse X found its name, and we realized, oh, it's coming by the end of the year, the sacrifice phase. We went from 12 cents all the way to 34 cents. Perfect structure to go flirt with all-time highs. Everything was nice and smooth, looking golden. Then the sacrifice phase actually started, and boom, and then that's when the whole Richard Hart buy wall came in to protect the price at 18 cents. That didn't work. It was a Band-Aid. It stopped it from just capitulating completely, but kept it sideways. But now just the market's the market. No one's going to outweigh the market. You can have as many whales as you want, but the general big money market is going to go where it wants to go. And that's going to really be based off just the sentiment that the world's given it, you know?
Gotcha. So hopefully we get Pulse Chain sooner rather than later. When it does go live, what's going to be your play?
When it goes live, so it's just buy mode. This is a different strategy for me, being such a Chad and buying and selling a ton of coins and flip flopping. My non-financial advice is literally, if you guys are here today, buy mode in terms of just find a way in your real world to get fiat cash, put it into the market, buy, fill up every cup. Unless you're going to go in the dangerous world that we're in, where you go Chad mode and you buy meme coins. If you're buying meme coins, take those profits, pour them into Hex and Hedron, and once Pulse comes out, Pulse X, everything, right? But I highly advise against swapping Pulse X for Pulse for Pulse X, Hex for Hedron, vice versa, Hex for Pulse, whatever it is. Just fill up all those cups. These are a bunch of amazing assets that were super early on. And my play is literally just to not sell any of them. For tax purposes. I mean, if you're holding anything less than a year, I mean, you know the difference in tax there. So holding just for at least a year makes sense because of taxes. You're going to save at least double the amount in taxes. But two, I mean, Hex went from the bottom to the top. We saw almost a 10,000x, right? Hedron's showing the same type of price action. So if Pulse X, incentive token, liquid loans, if they're all going to just do something like that, just get your hands on as much as you can. And don't trade them. For me, being such a Chad, I recommend not to trade these coins.
Yeah, man, that's what I mean. That's why people need to watch watch your content and listen to you properly, because it's nuanced. It's not black and white. You're not saying like trade all the time, and then you're not saying diamond hand all the time. You're obviously saying for different seasons and for different times, there's a time for everything. So in regards to Pulse, you just talked about, you know, Hex doing a 10,000x. Sorry to put you on the spot, but everyone loves, you know, a price prediction or a percentage prediction. What do you think Hex could do, you know, 3 or 6 months, and then longer term, 12 months plus?
So Hex, 3,
Sorry,
6
Pulse.
months?
Sorry,
Pulse,
Pulse
okay.
chain. Yeah.
Pulse, it's tough. I mean, because Hex started off dipping 80 to 90% in the first 3 weeks. Hedron started off with a 90% dip in the first week. So I definitely see a lot of selling off. It's going to be massively volatile in the first few weeks. I don't expect fireworks in the first 3 months for any of them. No, I won't say that. 3 months is a long time, because we're already starting to see the hint of fireworks in Pulse. I mean, in Hedron. I would say 3 months. So here's the thing, right? 10,000x in Hex is from the all-time low. So if we're going to go off the all-time low from the initial dump of Pulse and Pulse X, that's a way different number than the initial price, because Hex from its initial price is up like, I think it did like a 70x, nothing too outrageous from the opening price. But if we're talking from the initial dump all-time low in 3 months, I mean, you could probably see, I wouldn't be shocked to see Pulse do something like 3 months, 15 to 25, maybe 30x from the all-time low in the first 3 months after. So say the all-time low comes 3 weeks after launch, 3 months from that point, 15 to 30x, because you see Hedron, I mean, from its all-time low, it already did 11x, I think, maybe 12x from the bottom in 6 days, and it's pulling back, bounced off the 618 that we've been talking about in the streams. So once that finalizes and kind of rebalances itself, the next pump, you're just putting Hedron probably around that same thing, 20 to 30x on the next pump, assuming it all goes according to plan. But yeah, I would say first 3 months from the all-time low, probably like 15 to 30x off that bottom price, and then 6 months in, you're probably seeing the same thing, because you got to consider if it does 15 to 30x, the next few months it might pull back again. So I would say safely, I'm going to stick with like 15 to 30x. It's a wide range, but it's a good situation to be in. 2x is good, let alone 15 to 30. So
Exactly. And are you just going to be on the sidelines with dry powder, waiting to get any dibs?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So yeah, dry powder as always. And then I'll still be doing the Chad stuff, buying meme coins. If I can get, there's a coin I woke up and saw this morning. I put like $1,000 into it. I'm up 4x, and I forgot that I was even holding it. And I was like, okay, well, that's dry powder to put into one of these. So yeah, if dry powder, actual fiat from the real world, just sitting, just buying every and all dip, and then whatever gains we get in the Chad side of things, just keep pouring those back into the Hex ecosystem. That's my play. It's been working. It's been working flawlessly so far.
Hey, listen, if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of people that sacrificed are hexagons and or have been pulled into the hex and pulse chain community, which obviously focuses on delay gratification. Do you think the dips are going to be that big in pulse chain and pulse X if people are diamond hand? The majority of people, there will be some people trading, of course, but what do you think?
The dips in terms of like Hex's current 6-month dip?
No. I mean, when pulse chain and pulse chain goes live and pulse X and everything's live, will the dips be that violent? Because a lot of the people that sacrificed for both pulse X and pulse chain are hexagons, right? And
Yeah.
they're diamond handers, a lot of them, delay gratification and all that stuff. So do you think the dips are going to be as big as other coins or other blockchains when they first launch?
That perspective would make me believe that it wouldn't be as big of a dip, but people are people. And once people see fast money, they're not going to know how to react, especially for the first time. I think the dips will be violent. Not to scare anybody away, but I have a few friends that didn't invest as much as they wanted to in Pulse chain itself back last January or July of 2021. They sacrificed heavy. I mean, these are millionaires that sacrifice heavy for Pulse X, and they're going day one converting that to Pulse just because. And I'm telling you know me, I'm giving them the same thing. I'm like, hey, just get them all, but they're like, no, I want Pulse. So people are going to just swap those whatever the ratios are. Who knows? I mean, say it's a 1-to-1 ratio. A lot of people are just going to swap them back and forth, and then vice versa. There's a lot of people that went heavy into Pulse because Hex was pumping, and that didn't get to go as heavy because Pulse X came around and Hex was dipping a little bit. That want to just convert Pulse to Pulse X. You know, people are going to want to fill up all those cups and make them all even. So I feel like the dips will still be volatile. You can't take that. I mean, a brand new market with a brand new coin, even if it's backed by hexagons, there's going to be some person that's going to get in that's like, oh, I'm going to put in $1 million and I'm just a random degenerate, get a quick 5-10x, and then he's going to cash his whole bag on everyone's head. That happens everywhere, even in the stock market. So it'll still be volatile, in my opinion.
Sure. You talked earlier about not selling for a year or so because, you know, you want to mitigate capital gains tax. Don't forget, obviously, liquid loans is on Pulse Chain, so you can always collateralize your Pulse and get liquidity.
Yeah. That's why we're here.
Exactly. That's why we're here. Did you? Obviously you sacrificed for, if you don't mind me asking, you sacrificed for Pulse and Pulse X. Did you sacrifice for anything else? Obviously, Mintra was about recently liquid loans.
I actually did not know. So, and that's not to say that I'm not going to ape into these things. I am. I'm just like me with the chat energy I got right now. I'm putting my money into things that are making money right here, right now. And I have a bunch of USDC just waiting for these day one launches. So I'm going to get in, but I haven't sacrificed just because I'm like, I made enough political statements at this point.
Sure. I get it. So what else are you most excited about when it comes to Pulse Chain? I mean, is it just obviously just the price appreciation or any other projects on there that you liking the look of?
Yeah, no. So overall, like what I'm excited about in all of crypto, especially with Pulse, is just this whole ecosystem, like Hex, to Hedron, the Pulse X, the Pulse Chain. Then you can, use the vault the money inside of, the liquid loans, using liquid loans and kind of free up a lot of liquid money to make some big decisions without having the implications of trading and stuff and taxing and stuff. So the whole ecosystem, it all ties in. Like what you guys are doing at liquid loans makes so much sense and it's super, super necessary. What Alex did with Hedron makes so much sense and it's super, super necessary. It adds a whole new element to just being, Hex, Pulse X, because that's exciting, right? For us as a community. But for Pulse to really be successful, you need to have more than just what we have now to get other communities into it, to incentivize people to actually use these platforms or these exchanges and stuff. And I'm really excited. The only two non-Richard Hart projects that I'm truly excited about that I plan on staying with a long term is going to be Hedron and Liquid Loans. So Mintra, I don't know enough about. I know it's just it's an open sea fork. I know Gerardo's doing his thing, so I'm going to support that. I'm definitely going to buy whatever token comes on that. But really, what I'm focused on in terms of functionality, I mean, Mintra, yeah, it's going to be a big thing when it comes to selling NFT stakes in terms of in the HSIs through Hedron. So that's a big thing too. But yeah, with liquid loans and Hedron, those are two really vital, important things that make sense that Hex is always needed. The smartest people that I talk to in, like the Discord syndicate family, those guys tell us about how important it is to have things like liquid loans and have things like Hedron. So I would say, yeah, this whole ecosystem, I put them all in the same one. It's not a Richard Hart ecosystem. I call it like I guess it's a Pulse Chain ecosystem as opposed to a Hex ecosystem, because liquid loans is like more of a Pulse thing. So this whole Pulse Chain ecosystem that we have, with Hex, I guess. Hex Pulse ecosystem, let's put it that
Sure.
way. That's what I'm excited about, everything that's included in there right now.
Absolutely, man. I think it's great how obviously Richard started this off right with Hex, and then it's like filtered down to other projects that he's not involved in personally, but they're still taking the same philosophy, right? Immutable, no admin keys, you know, true DeFi, DeFi 2.0. I mean, it's really exciting time to be in this. And I'm not sure if you saw, you know who Jexa is? He's a colleague of mine at Liquid Loans. He's got a good channel, and he made a good video on how this whole ecosystem is like, we don't need anyone else in DeFi, right? Because if you have Hex, you've got the savings account. Obviously, Pulse Chain is the blockchain. Pulse X, you've got the exchange. Liquid Loans is the central bank, right? So if you're holding parts of all of these things, every time someone's using that system, you know, you're making yield as long as you're staking and you're putting your money to work for you. So it really is exciting to see this whole Pulse Chain ecosystem grow, and the tension's so built up right now, right? Because we've been waiting for so long. I was talking to Randy Halasky about this on a stream a few weeks ago, and he thinks it's just going to pop off, right? When it goes live, it's going to be bananas. Do you think the same thing is going to happen?
I do. Like, yeah, I still think we'll still get a dumping early on, but that dumping, like Hedron, it took a few days to clear out the people that didn't believe in the system before pump. But yeah, I do think these things will all go like ape shit, to be honest. Real quick, you said Jexa made a video about this whole ecosystem. Do you know the name of that video? I'm gonna watch that later because I have
I'll
a
send it
feeling.
over to you. I think it's called One DeFi, WON DeFi, because he's saying like we've kind of won. You know what I mean? We've got
Behind
this
the
whole
scenes with Liquid Loans, EO9, One DeFi.
Yeah, I think that's it. And it's basically, he's just talking about like, we don't need anyone else, right? If you're holding the loan token, you're holding PulseX, you're holding
Yeah.
Pulse, you're holding Hex, you've got everything. You've got the central bank, the savings account, the exchange, and you've got the foundation currency. And you can put it all of them are yield bearing assets. So it's just a super exciting time.
It is. Yeah, I'm looking at his chart. I didn't watch the video, but yeah, exactly what he's showing. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm excited about. And I had this conversation with another person a few nights ago, and I was like, he really broke it down and showed this whole ecosystem. Like, wow, like just the way where we're at now, as long as we utilize all these things the right way, just by basically learning them, understanding them, and just acting on or executing on whatever plan that we can map out, like, yeah, you can literally be 100% reliant on yourself for the rest of your life. And this is like, you can make video game money. Like, it's like you do this type of stuff, and things like Grand Theft Auto, for example, is a video game that I play. And there's ways that you can kind of work the system to just make businesses and make all this crazy money. That's just like, you don't even need to be that rich, but it's like, this is like a video game almost. Like, crypto is the video game. And as long with all these systems that are put in place with the help of Hedron and Liquid Loans being on top of Pulse Chain, with the incentive token, even too, with the staking of Pulse X, it's beyond next level. I haven't even fully comprehended it, but I know it well enough to like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I just have to understand the details behind all of it. But it's like, yeah, it's crazy what's being built before our very eyes. And it wouldn't be possible without Richard Hart. But the fact that people outside of Richard Hart can help Richard Hart complete the ecosystem in the fast way that we're doing now, like, yeah, this is crazy. This is super, super crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's so exciting. And like you said, it starts with Richard, obviously, his leadership and what he started this whole tribe, and it's just filtered out. And, you know, man, like you said, I haven't heard that analogy before, but video game money, it kind of is, right? Because every day, if you're staking and your money's working for you, you can go into the loan staking pool and collect the USDL or Pulse. You can go over to PulseX and collect your incentive token, right? And it's going to be like a full-time job in a way, isn't it? Just collecting all this revenue. A good question from Randy. He asked you, how far above or below does Jenkins think the price will go from the dollar amount people sacked for the first days of launch?
How far above or below does Jenkins think the price will go from the dollar amount sacked for the first day? I think I'm having a tough time understanding that. Like the average dollar amount. Wait, like the $1 billion of sacrifice money, or what do you mean?
Yes, I think he means like, I don't know. For example, I think Gerardo did a stream where he thought the opening price of Pulse might be 0.00017. So I'm guessing maybe he thinks how far below above that do you think it might dip?
Oh yeah. I actually did a stream with Gerardo probably like 6 months ago, and we broke that down, and for specifically Pulse Chain, based on like the Ethereum pre-sale that it had. But if you look at the Ethereum chart from day one, I'm going to throw some random numbers, so don't quote me on this, but I think the pre-sale, if you sacrificed or whatever, you traded in your Bitcoin, you're getting Ethereum at like $30 per. Price started off. I might be way off. Hang on, I don't want to throw random numbers at you, but basically, and I'll look at the charts later to kind of go into detail to answer that question with actual real numbers. But basically, how it worked for Ethereum, price started off like 10x higher than what the sacrifice phase or the pre-sale phase was, or value amount was. And then we had a dip that came down and almost tapped the pre-sale price per Ethereum dollar amount. And then it just bounced right up and never saw that number again. I think Pulse will be similar. I don't think Pulse Chain is going to go as low. I don't think there's really a chance that Pulse Chain is going to go any lower than the 10,000 per sacrifice point, which is like 4 zeros and a 1 or 3 zeros. I think it's 4 zeros and a 1. Wherever that math is. But I think at the worst case scenario, the all-time low might be just above what the sacrifice phase per dollar unit value is, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
And it won't stay down there long. It's going to go down there quick. And there's no way, like people like me, I'm not letting Pulse Chain go cheaper than what I sacrificed 7 months ago. And I feel like a lot of other people aren't going to let that happen either.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be there waiting to eat that up. Just want to answer this. I said that liquid loans is the central bank. I think a lot of people have got negative connotations around banks. Liquid loans is the central bank that's owned by the community. So if you're in the loan staking pool, you're collecting the fees from the system, but of course it's not centralized. There's no central authority. Yeah. Getting back on track, Jenkins. So obviously Pulse Chain is a full system state copy of Ethereum. Do the Ethereum bros just come over in droves straight away because they're hurting because of the gas prices, or is it a slow burn? What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like our community, like the HEX community, is going to just rush over. And, but I would say, I think it's going to take time. I don't think Ethereum's just going to fully go from like, go from ETH to just straight to Pulse. There'll be a bunch of people, right? There's a bunch of people excited about the project. The world's biggest airdrop is definitely going to help for the sake of people just going to cash out their PRC20 tokens. But I think it's going to be slower and gradual. There's going to be enough economic energy in it because of our community alone. This is like the strongest community I've ever seen in all of crypto. That's why I've joined Twitter, last year to be a part of it. But I think in terms of Ethereum's overall audience is kind of pouring in. It'll take time, and with the help of things like Hedron and liquid loans and whatever else gets built on top of Pulse, we need more things outside of just Pulse, because there's still going to be a lot of people that be like, oh, Richard Hart made it, I don't want it just because of Richard Hart. So it'll take time, but it'll happen fast. It'll happen fast for us in terms of how quick things get the ball rolling, in terms of price appreciation, performance, how many wallets are being made, transactions and stuff going up. But in terms of like that world domination type of Pulse Chain is like what Ethereum is to Bitcoin, Pulse Chain being that to Ethereum one day, that'll still take years in my opinion. But it'll be fast for us, but I think slow on a macro scale, which is good. Sure.
I'm sure even if people don't like RH, they're going to want the free money, even if just to dump, their free tokens. But when they come over and see 3-second blocks and, pennies transactions, hopefully that will keep them over there. So, dude, we've been talking for a while, but no one's seen your charts. Have you got anything you want to show us? Or
I can always show charts. You know me. I haven't even looked at the charts yet today. So
yeah, share your screen. You can share it yourself, right? There.
Yeah, you tell me what you want to see, because you know me. I can talk for hours, like nonstop. You guys,
let's have a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, because obviously that leads everything, right? So, maybe just a quick look at that, and then let's see what the people want in the chat. But yeah, let's start with that, man.
All right, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So let me pull up let me share my chart real quick. This is literally, this is left off from my last stream. So whatever's on there is on there. So it might be messy. Here we go. Edge tab. You guys see me or my chart?
Yeah, let me add it to the stream. Here we go.
We good?
Yep.
So Bitcoin, it's a little bit of a mess. So what I was saying earlier, like bearish conditions overall for Bitcoin, full-blown bear market. I'm not 100% sold on it until we break under the 30K range. That range right here is literally this. All these bottoms down here, where we had a bottom in 2021, until we break under that, I'm not fully sold on absolute max pain bear market, but I am sold on price probably wanting to come back down to this range at least. It's going to take some time. This can drag on all year. It can be like a not so fun year for people. Like, what's worse? I mean, if there's one thing to be like 2017, 2018, where you just went straight down all year. This is that capitulation I'm talking about. You go down all year long, and you think you've seen the worst of the worst, and then boom, the max pain right there, that capitulation where it just falls off, and you're like, okay, it's dead. Anything I bought in the past 9 months literally is going to zero. That's what you need to see in a full-blown bear market. Right now, we're just going sideways, but we're not even going down. If you think about it, you can draw all these trends where like, okay, Bitcoin's still holding like an ascending pattern here. We did get a double top, but this double top is still ascending in a certain form. So that's why I'm not fully sold on it. Last year, I jumped the gun because I followed Richard Hart so closely. When he was screaming 10K at us on this dead cat bounce, my logic left my head. I was like, okay, we're going down because Richard Hart, I haven't seen him wrong yet, so we're going down. But then that was actually wrong. So I'm like, okay, this time around, I'm not fully sold on a bearish Bitcoin, although the Hex community, or at least Richard wants it to be going down because for the sake of Pulse launching. But we need to see this break of this little triangle here. So for context, to kind of show you the macro scale analysis, if I throw a Fibonacci, and you've probably seen this watching my streams, but for your viewers here, Fibonacci from the 2020 COVID dip all the way to all-time high, you got all this. So once Bitcoin gets bullish again, the next target is, it's over 100K for the Bitcoin people. That's exciting. That's going to take a while though. But short term, this 618 level is always key. Right now, the 618 level is actually that $45,000 level I've been talking about, or 45 to 46. This whole range right here is exactly where the 618 is lying. And that's a clear resistance. You got tap, 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 tap. It's resistance right now, and it's a 618. So price action shows resistance. Fibonacci shows resistance. You got this 200-day moving average, this big black line. This is usually the indicator of like, okay, is Bitcoin and the altcoin and meme coins all going to explode, or is it going to stay down? So that's why we leave that indicator there. They all meet. So you got the 618, you got the structure, and you got the 200-day moving average, all showing resistance in the same exact area. So until we break this area, I'm not fully sold in the bull market. And then with Bitcoin here, we got this little bit of an ascending triangle. You see the prices. We're getting higher lows, higher lows. We're hanging on for dear life. But the moment Bitcoin falls out of this little structure here and breaks under this ascending bottom, it's probably going to free fall to this 35K range again. And then you're going to probably see some form of support here for a little while. But I just don't know. If we're going to tap it 3 times, especially after breaking under an ascending triangle, it's probably going to want to take its chance at this 30K level, where that's where the truth is going to tell us, are we bearish or full-blown bear market, or are we just literally going to get a triple bottom the same way we got a double top? So that's kind of, we're kind of trapped here right now for Bitcoin.
Quick question. When you do your Fibonacci, you go from low to high and from left to right. Is that right?
Yeah, and if I'm doing future projections, I kind of do it as backwards. So I probably should have made that disclaimer. This worked for me over the years. I don't know if it's textbook or not, but typically when you're doing like Fibonacci's to find retracements, you want to go like low to high. So let me just make this like this one, for example, like this low to this high. You're trying to see retracements. It's going to show you like how much lower it can go. I mean, even then that 618 still lines up, because the other one I drew is actually the opposite way, but the 618 is still showing. That's funny though. The small pump has the same exact 618 if you do it the right way. But yeah, when I draw my future projection ones, it helps me better find, the accuracy. So I'll just line this up with this bottom here, click that, and then I go right to left backwards. And that just helped me forecast the future projections. Okay. I've learned that like 4 or 5 years ago. It's just been accurate for me, but I don't know if that's in a textbook somewhere about Fibonacci, but it works. If people watch my stream the past years, like they know it works. But yeah, this specific one is right to the left from the all-time low to 2020 bottom to the all-time high.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it's just good to see. And like I said, I've watched your streams obviously a lot, and that 618 is just crazy, isn't it? How those fractals play out so much.
Literally, it's like magic. It's literally like magic. Any chart you look at, whether it's the stock market, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Hex, Hedron, anything. It's any chart you look at, that 618. I'm not an indicator guy. You know me from that. I don't use indicators, but I do use a Fibonacci just to kind of forecast, because when I'm looking at like dips and stuff, you look at structure, like you see these tops here, you see price action rate where that top was, you extend that line, okay, you got structure. So if Bitcoin does fall under this 30K range, there's pretty much a free fall until the 18, 19K range like we were talking about. That's why, because of structure. But when you're forecasting where the next pump might slow down, that's where I throw that Fibonacci on backwards, because that 1.618 is just as golden as the 0.618 retracement. And just to show people real quick what I mean, if you do that, I did that on Hedron, and you know from watching my streams, this is literally picture perfect. When Hedron was pumping, I threw on this Fibonacci from the all-time low to the initial all-time high from the opening candle. And when Hedron was pumping around this range, we broke past here. I was telling everybody where I'm looking to see the first pullback is the 1.618. Sure enough, I mean, you can't draw it up better than that. We tapped the 1.618 perfectly on the dot, bounced off the all-time high, came up to the same general area. Now we're pulling back. And sure enough, and I didn't even know this till now, I've been talking to everybody every single day since the top of a 618 touch. That's the exact thing that happened. Look at the bounce off the 0.618 touch. So like these things, it's like magic, but it's not me. It's just like once you see charts and you kind of just get so used to patterns and structure, the simple tools really go a long way. I'm no genius. I'm literally just a normal dude that just has experience in this world. But yeah, it's pretty ironic to see the 1.618 bounce fresh off of 0.618. So it's picture perfect TA there for Hedron. But yeah,
and
Bitcoin.
How's Ethereum looking?
Ethereum, we had a triangle on Ethereum. Same thing. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, let me go on the day chart. Bitcoin, Ethereum have the same type of structure to an extent, but Bitcoin's ascending triangle is not the same. So the 618 for Ethereum still in the same general area. As you can see, price bounced off at 1, 2, 3 times, final tap. Now it's going down. If you remember, Bitcoin had an ascending triangle with a flat top and an ascending bottom. Ethereum has a descending top and an ascending bottom. So this one's probably going to break sooner and probably more volatile. But it's still the same sentiment, because I was telling people on my streams all the past like maybe week or two now, if we're going to see this triangle be broken to the upside, you need to see Ethereum get above this 2750 range where this line's at. And then price sure enough came up, bounced off of it. It's showing us that it's bearish. So right now, what I'm seeing, we got a doji right here. Doji candle, engulf. Big black candle, doji, big black engulfing. Extend that. You're going to see some resistance there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce off of here, at least short term. But Ethereum, I would say, and this sounds crazy, that Bitcoin has more bullish structure right now than Ethereum. And I haven't been able to say that for at least like a year. So Bitcoin's structure looks nicer than Ethereum's right now. But I would say Ethereum's looking more likely for a break to the downside than Bitcoin is. But we have to consider this too. At the bottom of this triangle, we have this 50% range on the Fibonacci. You can see price bounced off it 3 times. So there's a ton of support and resistance that we're working through right now. We just got to wait for the tension to really build up for all these markets. And then we'll probably get some news in the world. If Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to go full-blown bearish and we're going to get a volatile drop, it's not just going to happen out of the blue for no reason. You're going to get some news, whether it's like Russia-Ukraine war, or something happens with like a government putting some type of restriction on, like whatever happens, you're going to see some weird news pop up that's not going to sound good. You're going to see the markets react to it, and they have to use the news in order to capitulate the price like that. So I would just pay attention. There's a breakout that's going to happen soon. And soon, I mean, it's going to be days or a couple of weeks. But when this breakout happens, pay attention, because you'll see news in the world go at the same time with it. And that's why I do the stock market every morning when I do the charts, because like what's going on in the stock market is directly based off of news. And then news does have an effect on, Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff. So, yeah.
So you always start with the stock market. Is it because the stock market, whatever's going on in the stock market, is a precursor to what's going to be going on in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Bitcoin's a precursor to what's going on in the rest of the crypto space?
Yeah. 1 second. I do that. My camera's still frozen. I don't know why that keeps happening. Here we go. I think I'm good. I don't know why that keeps happening, but I would say it is a bit of a precursor. But it's not always going to be exact. But whatever the general sentiment is, and sorry for all the drawing. This is for my Chad streams. I leave these on here for the people I drew it up for. But whatever is happening in general in the stock market's really reacting to what's happening in the world. So if things are not looking good in the world, things are going to go down. If things are looking good, things are going to go up, obviously. But yeah, whatever is happening in the stock market every day based on whatever news is happening, especially with opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange around like 8:30 Central Time. Whatever happens there kind of gives you an idea for the entire day. Like if the stock market's going to be bullish for the day, a lot of times you'll see Bitcoin kind of be bullish for the day, but times two. If the stock market's going to go up like 20.25%, you'll see Bitcoin go up like 3-4% for the day. But it's not always hand in hand, because Bitcoin's way more volatile. All cryptos are way more volatile. But and if Bitcoin's going to drop, it's going to drop harder than the stock market. If Bitcoin's going to go up, it's going to go up much larger than the stock market. But yeah, I always pay attention to the stock market just to stay in tune with what's happening in the world. And actually, stock market's actually the floor is lava if you look at it. Ethereum and the stock market are green for the past 24 hours. Well, Solana's doing good too, but I haven't actually been paying attention. It's my first time checking the charts, but stock market's actually moving up today, but we're hitting the same resistance area that I've been talking to people about for the past like 3 weeks. So I'll talk about that in the chat stream, but yeah.
Sure. And I think one last one, maybe Hex. I think people are calling for a bit of Hex TA. So maybe we could just wrap it up with that.
Yeah. Hex. So, so this is tough, right? So I'm gonna show you guys weekly chart. So what we see in the weekly chart is a bearish doji engulfing candle playing out, right? So once the candle closed last week and it was just at 12, it was just under 12 cents. I was like, oh shit, that's usually going to mean a big drop. I've been talking all week about the candle closing above 12.3 to 12.5. That was important to stay above there, just get a little bit of a higher low on the micro scale, and I'll show that. But the fact that it didn't happen, the reason why I was so afraid of Hex not closing above that range is because if it didn't, we get this bearish doji candle, and sure enough, the doji candle is getting engulfed. So now the real battle you have to pay attention to in Hex is this bottom, this yellow range here was the bottom from the first sacrifice phase. This is pulse chain sacrifice phase. There's a lot of support here, buying support here.
You on the weekly there? Is that the weekly?
This is weekly, yeah. Every candle's 1 week, and I'll zoom it into like the hourly to show you guys all the little stuff. But for the weekly thing, with the battle to watch out for this week, Hex for its dear life needs to hold 10 cents. Hex needs to hold 10 cents this week to avoid this bearish candle to stay even lower. The battle right now is okay. The bearish doji engulfing candles fighting against the pulse chain support line from 10 cents, which I think this is a massive range of support. So I'm not shocked to see price slow down here a little bit, even though it's moving down. But that's one thing to pay attention to. If I go down to the day chart, it's not looking too good. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not looking too good. If I just take away this yellow range that we have, pretend the yellow's not there, the next structure is right here, right? If we're just going based off structure and not any fundamental kind of ranges, and it's not too bad. This is what, 9.6 cents, the initial all-time high from last June. I would expect to see a bounce at least off of there, but this is definitely looking like a nice impulse down, correction to start another impulse. So that's not the best looking structure, but fundamentally, I would say we still have hope at 10 cents. But in all reality, this thing looks like it wants to go down more. Let me just check some 4-hour stuff. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. You see how the 12-cent price held for a little while? It looked good. Looks like we had almost a higher low. We got this low here. Thought we may have had a higher low here. Then we got tricked out. Thought we had a higher low again. But it just shows that the sellers are still in control. It's starting to, you see it's vertical here, but it's starting to go a little sideways here. It's starting to respect this range. So it's good. But if this thing does break under 10 cents, you might see this thing come all the way back down to the at least 8.5-cent range, which isn't bad. Like I said, if we're going to be full-blown bear market, might as well get the max pain out. I'd rather get max pain capitulation quick and easy within a few months rather than a whole year's worth of just dragging on. But yeah, that's what I would say right now. I wish I could just tell you guys some more bullish. I'm buying Hex. I'm bullish on Hex. Don't get me wrong. I buy Hex. I bought Hex the past 2 weeks. I bought it at 17 cents, 16 cents, 14 cents, 12 cents, and I bought it at 10 cents. I'm going to continue to do that. And I stake it because when you stake it, you get free Hedron too. So I'm like, it makes too much sense.
Chad mode.
Yeah. So all the profits are still funneling into Hex because we all know at the end of the day, Hex is not staying down forever. But right now, we might see if this 10-cent range doesn't hold, you're going to start seeing this 9 to 8.5-cent range flirted with. But in all reality, if I'm just going to be 100% unbiased and just tell you guys with just looking at nothing but the chart, with the conditions of Bitcoin, Ethereum, the overall market, this would be the major range of focus. I would say the worst case scenario bottom for Hex, you're probably looking at just under 7 cents. That sounds disgusting. It sounds bad for all the people that have been buying the past 9 months, but that would probably be like a max pain situation, at least hopefully. I mean, if Hex goes under that, then I don't know what to tell people anymore. But no, I would say like there is that chance that I would not be shocked to see capitulation all the way down here if the markets just kind of go according to what they've been showing us the past couple of weeks. Which Bitcoin's about to hit 40K right now, so
sure,
everything's looking bullish today right now. But I want to get too sold on what today is. Well,
let's see how it goes further down the road. Listen, dude. You coming on is great because I wanted to straighten things out and give you a good platform. And, I hope some people actually listened to you and didn't just look at a tweet and then lose their mind. Before I let you go, want to find out about what are your goals for yourself, for your content, for your channel in the near and far future.
Man, it might sound like weird, but I don't really have like a goal. I mean, the fact that my Twitter has over 10,000 followers in less than a year kind of shocked me. I was like, I'm just being me. I got on Twitter to add value. I didn't think it'd grow that much. YouTube has like a few thousand subscribers. I don't know, because like me personally, the only reason why I put my face on this camera now is because obviously we're talking one-on-one, but I really don't put my face anymore on this thing. I don't really care for like this spotlight or to have me as an individual kind of poke out, because like what my priority and my focus in life is my family behind the scenes. And it's just one of those weird worlds where like it's better to not be known. But at this point I realize I'm kind of in too deep. So I don't really like, my focus isn't on growing, as weird as it sounds, my focus isn't on growing like the platform or really getting big there or whatever. My focus is just to add value for every one person, for every stream that I make. I know there's one person out there that heard one thing that I said that made an impact on their life. That's my only focus. Is just if I can be the person that I wish I had when I got into the market 7 years ago, that's what I want to be for all the new people. So I would say that's my only goal, really. Nothing else more than that. Nice and simple.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Well, listen, keep doing you, because I appreciate your streams, as a lot of people in the comments do. I see you're wearing a Spurs shirt as well. You're into UK, into football, as we call it in
I love
the
the
UK.
Premier League. I'm a Manchester City fan, big time City fan. My camera not frozen. Yeah. Heung-min Son is my favorite player in the league.
Yeah,
so
yeah, the Korean player. Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
He's a fucking stud. He's my favorite player in the league. But I'm a big time City fan. But I buy jerseys. I buy jerseys all the time. I'm like a degenerate when it comes to being like Chad in crypto, and a degenerate when it comes to buying sports jerseys, because I just love them. You see, there's a football one. I got so many jerseys around the house. So.
Well, if you ever come to London, man, let me know. We'll have a beer and watch a football match, and yeah, it'll be good to catch up in person.
Definitely. I plan on actually going there next season. I want to go there next season. I want the pandemic stuff to settle down a little bit, but I want to catch a game out there next season. So
sure. Well, actually, just to let you know, all the laws have changed here now. You don't need to be vaxxed to come in. Everything's changed. So you know, as long as
everything's all good. So like traveling internationally to actual UK, we're good.
Nothing, dude. No vax pass, no masks, nothing. Everything's fine now. So yeah, just a heads up. But yeah, if you do come at some point, give me a heads up, and we'll meet up in town and catch up. It'll be fun.
What's your favorite team? I have to ask you real quick. What's your favorite team?
So you know what? I grew up in Southwest London, and everyone's a Chelsea supporter. It's like Chelsea land around here. So,
okay, there you go. I respect that. I like Chelsea. Actually, I just bought a Reece James jersey. That guy's like one of my favorite defenders in the league. So that's
dude. I probably wouldn't know anyone on the team these days. You know, I mean, like I played football at school because you had to, and you know, I was pretty good. I was on the school team, but I was always into martial arts, and that was kind of a different kind of, you know, different group of guys and stuff like that. But still, I got love for Chelsea. So
that's awesome. That's respectable. Okay. At least I know that. So if I come out there and I'm going to catch a Chelsea game, maybe I can catch a City versus Chelsea game or something. I know the big rivalry is Liverpool. There's a ton of Hexicans that love Liverpool. That's where we clash heads, but that's pretty cool. I respect that.
Sweet, dude. Well, listen, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate you coming on. Stay in contact, and you have to come back on the stream later down the road, and we'll chat how things are playing out. Hopefully Pulse Chain's live then, and everyone's mooning, and everyone, you know, the charts are mooning and everyone's happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hit me up. Let's do it. When Pulse Chain goes live, hit me up and we'll do that. We'll do a stream on here, and I'll go through everything all over again.
Wicked, dude. All right, then. Take care, man. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Jenkins, the myth, the man, the legend. I hope some of you guys enjoyed that TA, enjoyed his take on stuff. You know, make your own mind up, but I enjoy his channel. And yeah, you can go to his channel on YouTube. He's also on Twitter. I'll drop that in the link below. Guys, if you're not a subscriber, do hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new videos and content on the channel. You can also tap the like button, share the video with someone who you think it may benefit, and maybe drop a comment below for the algo. It does help us out. Thank you so much for watching on this fine Tuesday evening here in London. I hope you're having a good morning, day, night, wherever you are in the world. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.